Hello, everybody. Might hear a little noise. Ah. Hello, everybody. Make sure that's working. Okay, that's working. Good afternoon. Hope everyone's doing well today. Those there so I can look like I see you guys. Really can't. Hey. So, Baby Lock Fearless. That's me. Kinda. Not that fearless, but definitely a Baby Lock girl. You didn't know already. Ooh, all the way in California. Hey, Kim. I love it out there. Love California. So temperature's so nice all the time. It feels like, or whenever I've been out there. And I've been out there several times. Ooh, Darlene, have fun. Yeah. Yeah. Um, have fun up there. That's nice. You can always rewatch. Where did I get my shirt? I got this at Baby Lock Tech, and if you don't know what Baby Lock Tech is, that's where all the retailers and everyone from Baby Lock gets together and we learn about new product, and all that happens once a year. It's a conference. So dealers may have bought these. This one was a few years ago. May have bought these and sold them in their shops. I don't know if I'm not sure if they're any longer available. But yeah, they're really cute, and they had pins and everything and that's what we're going to talk about today are fashion pins. And if you don't know what that is, of course I'm going to show you what that is because I'm a collector of these pins. Whew. So if I talk a little slow and a little funny today, I am having a little bit of a tooth issue, so I'm a little sore. Getting that fixed this week, so just bear with me. And I always can't see, so. Okay, well, well, looks like everyone's joining on, and welcome to Facebook Live Sunday here at the Beehive. Hope everyone's doing great. If you're new to the group, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. This group is here. We're here to have fun. No drama llamas up in here, if that's okay with y'all, because you know I don't like it. So we're here to have fun and to learn. That's my number one thing. I think I'm a teacher at heart, and I absolutely love what I do. And so I love to sew, I love to embroider, and I love to show you guys what I have learned. Because that's so important, especially doesn't matter what machine you have, what machine brand you have, it's important to learn on your machine, because I know we pay a lot of money for these girls, don't we? So if we pay a lot of money for them, we need to know how to use them to get the full experience. I am a national baby lock educator, so I work on the baby locks. Now, if your machine can't do what my machine can do, don't worry about that. You're still going to learn stuff. I do a lot of embroidery stuff. So if you think about it, you can translate a lot of it into embroidery software if you use embroidery software. But it's more about technique and what fun you can have. Today, I am going to be using the Baby Lock Solaris. I remember, if you have a Baby Lock Destiny, if you have an Altair or a Meridian, or the brother-like machines, or the Solaris 1, Solaris 2, or the brother-like machines, of course, you have in Baby Lock, we have we have IQ Designer, and in Brother, we have My Design Center. So you can follow along with this. Again, like I said, a lot of this can be translated over into embroidery software. However, it's much more fun when it's on your machine and you can just do and pop it right out, right? Yay! And I keep saying this, I am learning Palette right now. I'm working on that. It's amazing. So Palette 11 is the Baby Lock software. Just a lot of fun. And so, I'm learning every day just like you. So yeah, so welcome everyone. Hey, and if you're new to the group, if you're scrolling through the group, you will notice the very top post that is pinned to the top is a post that shows you how to find previous videos. So you can always walk through that. If you need help, just write a little message and we can help you with that. Yay, Solaris and Palette 11. Yes, girl. You know how that's how I roll, yo. Okay, so let's talk about, oh, wait, I wanted to show you guys something. I wanted to show you guys, talk to you about a couple things here first, okay? Sorry, my eyes are watering a little bit. Because y'all know how silly I am and I like silly things. So I did something crazy last Tuesday, and it's pretty much thanks to the group, and of course to my logo and all that. So, oh wait, I have to figure out which arm it's on. I gotta be with the crown. Is that not cute? Okay, good. Thank you, Madison. So I had to get one of those. I have so much fun with my little bees, and y'all know that. Y'all know I love bees. So funny story, I've always been terrified of bees, and then in my head, I'm like, if I start to love bees, I will no longer be terrified of them. And I have really worked that issue out. I can walk by a bee and not pass out. Now I still get a little anxiety, but not like, yes, another tattoo. And not your name. Diane, your name is going here next, okay? I'm gonna put it right here. Her name's Beatrix. Madison named it. Madison is my boss's daughter, and she's amazing, and she named my bee Beatrix. Okay, so there's that silly little tidbit that you just had to know, right? Okay. Another thing is on June 7th, I'm so excited. My besties Hope and Kim, they are putting on a paint party, and oh, I forgot to bring my stuff in to show you guys. I'll go grab it and get it. My husband's taking a nap, so he can't. Anyways, so crafts. Obviously we're crafty people, right? So why not take a break from sewing for a minute and do some paint? It's really, really cool. Let me show you. Let me pull this up first. You're going to see me kind of working off to the side here and show you. And I have made a post in this, a post on this, and you guys have probably already seen it, but I do want to show you how cute. Oh, gotta turn that off. All right, now I got to do this, make it big. Okay. And I'm going to make another post. So if you want to join in with us, this is going to be June the 7th. It's going to be a Zoom paint party. And we're doing like, what do they call those? Like barn quilt things. And they're really fun. And I've done several of these, and it's just a lot of fun to do something a little different every now and then. And let me show you this. Okay, so here's one of the pictures. These are the 3 barn quilts. We call them barn quilts. I don't know why they call them. Well, I know why they call them barn quilts. Barn quilts are generally painted on wood and they're hung on barns. And if you're driving around out in the country, you'll notice that people have them hanging on their barns. And this is a way to kind of bring them into your own home and just paint them whatever color you want and have a lot of fun. So here's one picture of them. And then here you go. There's some more. And these are so fun. And there's multiple different ways you can do these. They're so super cute. So I would say I would love for you to join us if you'd like to do that. And I'll make another post later on this evening. Let me get you to the page right here. But there's going to be a link. And so you'll see right here, here's the paint kit. It has the date and everything there for you. They need you to order them by May 24th so they can make sure they get everything to you. It comes with the frames, all that, the paints, the glue, everything that you need, directions, and then you'll have us there painting along with you. How fun would that be? And also the Zoom link. If you want different colors than that, the easiest thing to do is, it's going to come in these teal and gold colors, is to run out to Michael's and get some acrylic paint. It's really cheap. You can change up the colors. You can do whatever you want. It is so much fun, guys. I would love for you to join us. I would absolutely. I mean, because we get to be face to face, right? How fun. Y'all know I love that. So if that's something you're interested in, I will make another post tonight, and there will be some instructions. So when you go ahead and sign up for this, so let's say we add one to the cart here, what we're going to, view cart, maybe we're going to view that cart. Oh, that's so cool, Anne. So right down here, when you go to, where is it? Apply coupon, you're going to type, I think this is where you do it. You're going to type the name Anna right there. So that way we know that you're joining up, and it's a lot of fun. So, okay, that's all I wanted to talk to you about, besides what we're going to do today, which is really fun, which is really cute. Okay, so this idea has been in my head for a long time, and it's just never come to fruition. And I was thinking about what to do today, and I'm always last minute thinking, because I have so many ideas. I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I was like, well, why not make that little fashion pin cork board that you've been thinking about doing? And I'm like, okay, well, I'll do that. And so all you need is, you need some cork, and you're going to need like fabric. And I'll talk about exactly what you need here in just a minute. But let me show you what it is. Now, if you're not familiar with what fashion pins are, I collect these. I get these kind of like everywhere, and there's so many cute ones. Okay, so here's one from Zandra Shaw, and it says, I belong to the quilt nation. Let me hold it like this. Now, some of you who like to go to Disney, you may collect these. You may collect some beautiful, the ones, all the characters, and I do have several of those too. And they'll have little pins on the back, and the little, I found that I've had some of these since I was a child. So I guess I've been collecting them a long time. So I absolutely love these because they're a lot of fun to collect. They come in sewing types. I mean, every type, anything you can think of. I like, have to admit it, I am a true crime person. I love true crime. So, I've got some from my favorite podcast. They send them to you as gifts, and I'm like, ooh, this is so cool. So let me show you what I came up with, because I didn't have any place to put these at all. And I can't wear a lanyard all the time with these all around, right? So yeah, the Alice in Wonderland at Disney. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, Julie, they're adorable. So here is my version that I can hang on the wall. Let me hit it to hang straight. And I can put all my little pins on it. Now, it's not hanging straight because I don't have my ribbon straight. There we go. That's better. Okay. Hard Rock has pins. Everybody has pins. So I want you to take a look at mine here, what I have right here. So this one right here, this is a Tula Pink one. This was a special one she was making. I don't know, that there might be some more out there. This one right here is a quilt one. This one, I always thought this one was hysterical. This little guy right here, it's called the Seam Reaper. Get it? And he's holding a seam ripper. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. And of course, a bee that a friend gave me, Dog Mom. And then I have my Baby Lock ones. I love Alice in Glass fabric. So she made some with like some fabric with some mushrooms and stuff. So she sent me one of those. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that, Patty. So what you'll notice is I have cork. I also have a background, and you can do this in any shape you want. I'll show you how I did it in this little octagon shape. So this is kind of like a raw edge applique, super easy. I bound it. My binding doesn't look that great because I did it really, really fast, but who cares? You know me, I'm a good enough sewer. Okay, I'll show you the back here in just a second. So, you know, it's really easy. And if you have some cork laying around, I know cork's expensive, but sometimes we have this problem and it's called overbuying when it comes to fabric. So I had plenty of cork lying around, and I had this gorgeous gold cork. Can you see the gold flecks in there? Because you know I love gold. This is, you know, just something I can hang on the wall now, and I can see all my pins. They're not all in a bag like this. Let me show you what I've been keeping them in. And of course, I have more. You can't see them in there. And so there's one of my Disney. I have another Disney one that's on one of my things here. I have my I think it's my mermaid one. So, you know, I've got all kinds of them in here and you can't see them. So let's hang them up. You never overbike. Diane, I know your spending habits. Oh, okay. Okay, so here's the front. Now the back, there's all your pens, your little doohickeys right there. So, and then I just put a cute little faux satin ribbon on it because I like satin. Thanks, Dolores. That's nice. Mickey said she found some cork at so yeah, you can find it anywhere, Hobby Lobby, anywhere like that. And so, and the great thing about cork is it embroiders beautifully. So let me show you what, if you've never played with the cork or you kind of want to just see what it looks like. So basically what cork fabric is, it is actual cork. It's just shaved really, really thin. And then it's applied to this really soft backing. So look, super pliable, and it's not going to break the cork or anything. At my shop, we do a lot of cork wallet classes. One of our ladies does. And so I know several ladies who make bags and wallets and whatever out of this, but you can see I am roughing it up and it is fine. So it's really cool material to play with. It is pricey, but you know, we like it a lot. It's really cool. And like I said, you can embroider on it. It embroiders like butter because it's really soft. Once you feel it, you'll be like, whoa, that stuff's super cool. Sally tomato cork. Ooh, I might have to check that out. So let me tell you what you'll need for this if you want to make one of these. So mine is roughly, I started out with a 9, make sure I get my information, like a 9-inch square. And I know mine's a blah, blah, blah right now, but at first I started with the square and the hexie in the middle. And then when I was done with it, I'm like, I didn't like the square, so I cut it into a hexie. So you can really do it however you want, but we're going to do it the square way, and then you can cut it down however you want. So we're going to start with squares. So what you'll start with is this piece isn't, so the cork is going to be an 8-inch square. Then what you'll need is one of my new favorite fabrics that, or excuse me, materials that I have absolutely fell in love with. And it's a baby lock product. And if you had taken my, let's see, what was it? The door hanger class, I suggested using something, it's called Shape Flex, but it's not the same Shape Flex as Pellon's Shape Flex. This is a totally different Shape Flex. So what it is it's a thicker material, kind of like this. So it adds lots of body. And this is the Baby Lock version. It's really cool. You can get it from a Baby Lock dealer. It just adds some really thick body. Now, if you don't have that, batting should work just fine. Let me see your questions here. I have a couple long things here that let me just check out real quick so I don't miss them. Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, well, now you can do something with it, Ernestine. Betty says, how could you add something? Oh wait, how could you add something that all the magnets could stick to that I've gotten to? Let me think about that for a second. I know you can buy like little, because I've bought them before, little bitty baby magnets, and you can hot glue them to the back of something. So you might want to buy I got them at Amazon, these baby little baby magnets, and you can probably hot glue them to the back. Now they're going to be in one position at all time. Or some of them, some things have these. Hold on, Betty. Let me show you this real quick. Let me grab my board here. Maybe you can find something like this. Oh, I'm going to have to just, yep, okay. Hopefully I can do this without ripping out the computer here. If you hear me struggling, I am struggling. Okay, do you know what a needle minder is? Well, this is, I love bugs. I'm a weirdo. I love bugs. But this is a needle minder, okay? Let me put that down right here. So what a needle minder is basically you can take, and let's say you're cross stitching, and you can put this on the top. It has a magnet and a piece of metal, or not metal, excuse me, another magnet on the bottom. So that way it'll attach. So you might just want to grab a second magnet and just put this on the front. So let's try it. Let's see how well it works. So if I wanted to put this one here, you might have to get a strong magnet. That works. So I've got the magnet right here, the other side of the magnet, and the other side of the magnet here. So you could do that, if that makes sense. Yeah, you can use magnetic strips, super glue. Yeah, it just did. It just worked through it all, Lynn. Okay, or Linda, excuse me. Okay, so let's get back what you'll need. Good question, though. And where did I put my, oh, here it is. Okay, so we'll need, something to support it back here in the back. Now, the other thing that I have is a piece of white, and it's hard to see, tone-on-tone fabric right here. And these are cut at about 9.5. So I've got about 9.5. I mean, this one I think I cut a little weird. 9.5 by 9.5. Now, let me make it easy on you. Go up to 10 inches for the back part. This is going to be your base fabric and your base support here. Go ahead and do 10. I promise you, it's going to hold. It's going to be easier because I didn't have quite enough when I was stitching it down. So we're going to call this 10 and 10. So that is your background fabric and your support material, whether it be the Baby Lock Shape Flex, which I absolutely adore, or the or like batting or something. So we've got a 8-inch cork and we got 10-inch, those two pieces. Now also you'll need a 10-inch piece of backing fabric because we have a back. So, and then your binding, you can do one, whatever size strip, excuse me. You can do one, whatever size strip that you like to use. I always cut my binding strips at 2.5. So if you do 2.25, you do 2 inches, it's up to you. Now, do it a little bit bigger. Like if don't go so small if you're going to do the hexagon shape because of getting around all the points. So I would say 2.5 is probably perfect for that. Okay, super easy. Oh, and the other thing I would suggest is have some sort of embroidery tape nearby, your thread, a bobbin, and there we go. I used a 75 needle. I thought I was going to have to use a 90, but I was like, let me just try this 75. And I was actually pretty darn good there. So yay. All right. So here we go. Let's look how cute that is. I'm so proud of it. I'm like, I finally saw it through to fruition. My first idea was to have multiple little hexes going around the fabric, in which I still might do that, but I thought this would be pretty easy for us to do. What size ribbon is this? And maybe an inch. ish, maybe a little bit bigger. And how long? I just cut hunks. I was like, that looks good. Poop. So I didn't measure. But I had this beautiful gray silver satin like, and I thought it was so pretty. So I put it on that just so I have something to hang it by. You could really, you can make a little dowel holder here. You could do whatever you want. But now with these on here, these little sucker, it's kind of heavy now. But I'm so happy to finally have something that I can see my pins, my fashion pins. So I did say cork board because it's not really like a board, but it's, it's a project that we can make because guess what? We can do what we want, right? All right. So what I'm going to do now is put these somewhere safe that I don't lose them because I will, as y'all already know. And I am going to then make sure my questions are nearby me so I can see y'all's questions. And I'm going to switch around and I'm going to show you how I designed it inside of IQ Designer. Now, I plan to stitch it out in front of you just to show you how it goes together. So if you want to hang out that long, perfect. If you don't, you can always rewatch. So I just appreciate you guys being here in general. So, all right, let's switch the camera around and we are going to get to stitching. There we go. There she is. All right. All right, let's turn that down a little bit. Turn the glare off. We don't need that on anymore. There we go. Maybe put a little extra light on here so it doesn't seem so terribly dull. There we go. Okay. All right, great. So as you know, I always use a mouse here. So I'm going to be using my mouse. Just that way my fingers aren't all up in the way of the screen. So if you are on a Destiny 1-2, a Altair Meridian, a Solaris 1-2, you have IQ Designer built in, and that's what we're going to be using today. So I know a lot of you have done in the hoop projects with me before, so let's think of this kind of like an in the hoop, kind of like an in the hoop project. It's more like a quilt square, but we're going to add the backing onto it. And there's really minimal steps in this, and it just goes by quickly. So you can make these over and over and over again. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, and again, if you have a brother, this is my design center. Okay, so first thing we will do is we'll go to IQ Designer. Oops, I need to let my arm calibrate. There we go. All right, and I should have cleared this screen off so I could show you how this works. So I'm going to clear everything off. Oops, that's the wrong thing. Don't do what I'm doing. Just slow down. All right, so first what you see is you'll have a screen that looks very similar to mine. And what I want to do is give myself some boundaries. And I love these features in the machines because it really helps me stay within a certain boundary and I don't go too big or too small. So I'm going to first come up to my settings, which is your little piece of paper right here. I don't remember if the Destiny may have it down at the bottom here, but yours, it will definitely be somewhere on the screen and it's your settings page. So we're going to click on that. Now what you should see, and if you don't, you can use the arrows down here to find the screen that looks similar to mine. So now what you should see is a embroidery frame display. So I am going to go here and click on this button right here. And you may have to kind of scroll through yours, but what I'm going to select is the 9.5 by 9.5. That just gives me a general area for visual effect. It will not stitch out, it's just the visual. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come right down below that where it says grid. And I'm going to turn just the quadrant, I don't know what it's called exactly, the 4-quadrant crosshair. And that's just going to give me, a good little center point there. So after I'm done with that, I will then select OK. And now what you will see on your screen is you will see a very faint outline of the 9.5 by 9.5 inch hoop frame. Remember, this line will not stitch out. It's just a boundary line, as well as this crosshair line right here. That's just a boundary line. So, or not a boundary line. That's just a visual to help us for center. Now, for this project, do you really need this? No, but I like to show you things that you can find on your machine that are really super cool. So especially if you're designing something and you really have to stay within that hoop frame, but also you need a good little center point. I am a sucker for a crosshair. I crosshair everything when I'm marking on my fabric. I just love crosshairs. They really give me a good visual. So there we go. I've got that. The first thing that I want to do is I need a square. So that's going to be, we are going to stitch that down. That's basically kind of going to be our tack down line. We can think of it a little bit like that. So I'm going to come over here to my shapes key. It is actually called, I believe they call it the stamp key, but I call it the shapes key only because that's where I find my cool shapes and that's where I want to go. So I'm going to click on that. And this very first page is going to have the shape I need. Now you have multiple pages of shapes here that you can play with, but we just need to hang out into this little page. And I'm going to first grab this little box right here. Once I've clicked on it, I then can select OK. And you will see that in the center, and it will have a red line around it. That basically means that is the design you have selected that you want to work with. So then I can go to size. And let's see if I can get that a little cleaner. I just looked at my computer. Maybe a little bit closer. Just, I can see on my computer, the screen looks a little blurry, but I think that's about as good as I can get it right now at this moment. Maybe if I turn the light a little bit. Well, sorry guys. Okay, but you'll get the idea. You'll totally get it. So now that I'm in the size area, what I want to do is I want to find the button that's right over here. That is the box with the arrows going outside of it. So you'll have 4 arrows going outside of it. This is my proportionally larger button. So I'm going to press and hold until it gets to about 9 inches. And if you go a little bit too big, you can always use the proportionally smaller button and get it to about 9. If it says 8.99, close enough. The next thing that I'm going to do, after that, I do want to select the word OK, is I'm going to go back into my shapes key right here. And then I'm going to look for that hexagon-ish shape. So stop sign, hexagon, whatever you want to call it. So that's going to be actually right underneath that square that we just used. So let's go ahead and select that. And once it's highlighted blue, then you want to select the word OK. Now I see, there we go. Saw I might have drooped a little bit. There we go. That should be better. All right, now what you'll see is you'll have a hexagon in the center of your design area, and you will see that there's a red box around that. That means it is selected. So I'm going to go to the size key. I'm going to use those proportionally larger buttons again. And I'm going to change this to about 7 1/4, so 7.25. So I'm going to press and hold that down until I get to about 7.25 or 7 1/4. Looks like I'm getting it to 7.24, but details, right? Okay, so after that's done, I am then going to select OK to come out of that screen. And here we go. Now what you're going to notice is it looks like you have like 500 lines on here. If that's driving you insane, you can always turn these lines off by going back up to settings, going to your frame size, and you'll click whatever the largest frame is that you have, minus 10 5/8 by 16. And then I can come back here to the grid and I can click the no grid area. So that's just an option. So see, now we can just see the square that we built and the hexie that we made. But remember, those are options for you to use. They're really helpful. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to click off just so I can show you what's happening here. So I have my box here and I have my hexie here. This hexie is going to be my applique. But the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to select memory. And the reason why we select memory is so I can come back to this. If not, if I didn't select memory, I would have to rebuild everything, and that's just kind of annoying. So you can do one of two things. You can save to your machine or a USB stick. I always save to my machine. It's totally up to you what you'd like to do. And I'm going to save it. Now, if I mess up or if something weird happens, I can go back and pull that up. All right. So the first thing that we're going to create is kind of like a tack down placement line. So the box is going to be considered our tack down line, and this hexie will be considered our applique placement line. And we're just going to do those all at once. So, sorry, I'm laughing. The dog's snoring in the background. So if you can hear that, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to come up to our line properties. Now, if you're new to your machine, what you have in IQ Designer is you have a grouping of 4 little icons right up at the top, and then you have a grouping of 4 little icons right below that. The grouping of 4 right up at the top, these are your line properties. This is where I can change a line. I can make the line do what I want it to do. And these are considered lines right here, this square and this hexie. So I'm going to select this little piece of paper right here. Go ahead and tap on that, and you will see your line properties. Oh my gosh, I'm just looking at my computer going, why is that so bad? I wish that was a little clearer for you, but usually it is, so I'm not sure what's happening. So what we want to do is we want to grab a running stitch. So if we look here, here's all your multiple stitches right here. So we have a running stitch, a triple stitch, a candle wicking. You got a little bit of everything. I'm going to select this first one right here, or the second one really, if you're looking. But this is called your running stitch. So let's go ahead and tap on that and select a green color. Then I'm going to select OK. And I have to do one thing before I can change these lines. I'm going to select this bucket right here. And then I'm going to tap on each of these lines. And once you tap on them, you'll see them change to that green color. Tap on both of them. Now I have told that line what to be. I've told both those lines of both those elements to be a running stitch. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I am going to take this over into the embroidery side. We're going to call this our placement stitch. We're just going to call it that. So the next thing I want to do is select next. This is your editing screen. You don't have to edit anything in here. We're going to leave everything as is. Now, if you're on a Destiny, Altair, or Meridian, or the like brother machines, you're going to see the word preview right here. I want you to select the word preview and then the word OK. If you are in the Solaris or the brother like machines, we can hit set OK. Now, if you are back in the Destiny and the Altair and the Meridian and the brother like machines, you're also going to see the word set down here. Go ahead and hit that word set OK. And now you will be in your embroidery area. What you should be able to see is the word add at the bottom. So next what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to select that word add. I'm going to come add, and I'm going to go to And you may see your IQ designer words somewhere else on the screen. Mine happens to be right down here at the bottom. So I'm going to click IQ designer. And the next thing I'm going to do is recall that design that we just made. Okay. So we're going to come up here. We are going to select the recall key, which the recall key is a pocket with an arrow going outside. So let's select that. And you're going to see, although I have two because I've already made this design, you're going to see, you should see your design right here. And that should be in the top upper leftish corner. So you can go ahead and click on that and then select OK. And if I click off, you'll notice I have my two elements back. So what I want to do now is add in my fill area. So where I'm going to add fills, and let me grab my little guy here so we can see it. So you can see right here that this is where my fills is. I used the honeycomb one here, and this one is on the Solaris too. But you can add any fill that you want to just by doing this. So we want to add that in between the hexie and the square. So we're going to have to do something to these two lines though. We're going to make them not so. We're just going to use them as boundaries. So this can be a little confusing, but it really does work. So watch this. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back up to our line properties right here. I am going to click on this little piece of paper. And there is a little button right here that has a little zigzag with a line through it. I want you to go ahead and select that. And after you have selected that, go ahead and select OK. Now, what we're going to do is select the bucket next. That is the top bucket, basically. And I want to tap each of these lines. Now, they're going to be there. You're going to see them, but they will not stitch out. They're going to be boundary lines. So if I take my finger, my stylus, my clicker here, and I'm just going to tap on each line. And on your screen, if you look really closely, they look like little bitty dash lines or little bitty marching ants. So what that is telling me is that it has turned it into a no-sew line. Now what we want to do is add a fill in the area between the hexagon and the square. And I believe this is a hexagon. If I'm calling it something wrong, just correct me. Okay, so let's go and find a fun fill to put in there. So a moment ago, we have worked in the line properties section right here. Now we want to drop down to that second grouping of 4 icons right here and select that little piece of paper down there. And guess what? We're in our fill property. So from here, I can make a full fill, which means like a full embroidery fill. Don't want that. I can do a stipple, or if I click on the little guy with the little bubbles, a screen will pop up or a menu will pop up, and I can hit the word select, and this is how you find your decorative custom fills. Look how pretty they are. Okay. All right. Now, let's pick a fill. So I think I'll just do something a little different than that one. So I'm just going to look and find one that I like. So do the same thing. Just look and find one that you want. So I might do, since bees like flowers, I might do a floral one, which there's a cute floral roses right here. So, oh, you know what? I like this one. So I'm just going to select it and then click OK. I'm going to select a color just because I can do it if I want to. I'm going to select a pink. And then I'm going to select the word OK. You do not have to select a specific color, but I don't like the color red, and it automatically defaults to red. So let's push OK for that. And now what you're going to notice is on your screen, you can see your two, an octagon. Okay. Oh, is there 8 side? 1, 2. Oh, you're right. That is 8, isn't it, Julie? Okay. Well, octagon, hexagon, it's a gone. It's a something a gone. All you math teachers out there are going, good God, what's wrong with that girl? Okay. My stop sign right here. So again, you can see on your screen that you still have those two elements. They lighten up considerably. On my screen, you probably can't see it. But what I'm going to do is make sure that my bucket is turned on in the under the fill section. And I'm going to tap in between the octagon and the square. So watch what happens when I tap in there. So I'm just going to use my fingers so you can shows you really well. Ah, there's my little flowers. How pretty is that? Okay. Now what I'm going to do is then select the word next. This is where I can adjust the sizing of you can actually adjust quite a lot, but today we're just going to play with sizing of my fill property. Now, if you're on the Destiny Altair Meridian, you'll see, I believe the Destiny, you'll see a button right down in here that looks like this one right here. So it has some bubbles and a couple arrows right there, and it'll say 100%. So I want you to click on that, and you can play with this if you want. If you like it where it's at, leave it from whatever fill you chose. But I'm going to change mine to 150, and I'm going to push OK. Now, here's the thing. With the Solaris, it shows me real time what happened. With the Altair, Meridian, and Destiny, it does not show me until I go to the next screen. So I can see that this has made me happy. But if you are on the Destiny, Altair, Meridian, or Brother-like machines, you're going to see a key that looks like this, that has some bubbles and a square, and it's going to say on. Okay, so it'll look exactly like this. Let me turn mine on. So it's going to look just like this. What that does is that adds an extra outline. We do not need that. That's just extra thread for our project. So what I want you to do is select that, wherever it is, it's going to say on or off. So select it if it says on, click the word off, and I think you have to click the word set. It's either set or OK, and it'll take that outline off. Now, you may not be able to see that just yet. However, you have turned it off. Now, if you have, this is how you can see what your design looks like if you are on the Destiny, Altair, Meridian, or the Brother-like machines. You are going to select the word preview that would be right down here at the bottom. Preview OK. And you're going to look at it. You're going to look at the design and see if you like it. If you do not like it, you have a key that's called the return key. And you can select that little return key right there, and it'll bring you back to your editing screen so you can edit it a little bit more. So while you're doing that, I am going to answer this question. Curious, why wouldn't you do the fills during the first step? Why did you create it and then add from the inverted? Lynn, you absolutely could. I like to break mine up in steps when I'm teaching because it makes you use the buttons a lot more, but absolutely you could have created that in the very beginning. But as an educator, I want to make it hard on you guys so you learn, if that makes sense. But that's a great question. Okay, if we've gotten this to look kind of how you like, what you can do then, if you are back at the editing screen, then what you could do is you could, if you're on the Destiny Altair Meridian or Brother Like machine, you will select the word preview, okay again, and then set okay. And this will drop this into our embroidery screen. So the rest of us, we're just going to hit set, okay, and now you'll see your beautiful design dropped right in the center, or not in the center, but right into the design there. So if we look up here, right up here, or if you notice on mine, which is kind of light, you can barely see, I have my first stitch out and then my second stitch out of my fills here. So now I have one more step. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to add, and I'm going to go to IQ Designer. Now this step, like Lynn was asking, could I do this all at once? No, this step has to come in separately. So I'm going to select IQ Designer. I'm going to go up to my recall key, which is the pocket with the arrow going out. I'm going to select my design again, and then select OK. And you'll notice that your design is back up on the screen. And we only need to use now one part of this design. We no longer need to use this square right here for what we're doing. We just need to use the octagon now. Okay, Sheila, let me answer your. I'm confused now. I thought we had to go back and forth from IQ and embroidery to make sure everything stayed in order. Well, if you are if you're going back to my answer with with Lynn's question, there are ways to get around different aspects. And it depends on what you're making, Sheila. There's always ways to get around it. So if you're new to IQ Designer or newish to IQ Designer, there are some advanced ways to move along, and Lynn may know those ways. So that's why she was asking. So hopefully that answers your question. I guess I'm hoping that's what, and I hope I'm answering your question correctly. If not, just let me know. Okay. So now, but this goes back to what you were saying, Sheila, is yes, this part we definitely have to go back to IQ Designer to do. And remember, when you're designing, it's probably best to, and especially if you're new, to do everything separately. That way you're learning, you're pushing more buttons. It's the only way you're going to learn your machine is to push all the buttons. Okay, so we've got this little guy pulled up now, right? So what I want to do is only use the octagon. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to my line properties right here. I'm going to select my little piece of paper, and then I'm going to select the no sew line. I am then going to select OK. And now what I'm going to do is only I need to turn my bucket on. So first I want to turn my bucket on, and I want to turn off whatever I'm not going to be stitching out. So I'm not going to stitch out that box. So I'm going to tap the box, and that'll now just basically disappear. We won't see it. But to me, it's quicker than sitting there and erasing the whole thing. So if you just turn it into a no sew line, then super quick. But I want this hexie to have a triple stitch. So I am going to come over here, back to my line properties, and click on my little piece of paper and select the triple stitch. Now, do I only have to select the triple stitch? You can do whatever you want. You can add, or if you want to, with this little, and this is a raw edge applique. If you wanted to use the candle wicking, the cute little chain stitch, What if you have a Solaris, you have extra stitches in here? I mean, you can do whatever you want. This is your baby. But I'm just going to use the oh, nope, you're not causing any, Lynn, you're not causing any confusion at all. Questions are meant to be asked. Okay, so I am going to select the triple stitch just because it's the one I like. And I will give it a blue color just so I know that it's changed, and select OK. I want to make sure my bucket is on, and it is on, and I'm going to tap my octagon. Ta-da! Doesn't look like much now, does it? That's okay. So let's go ahead and select the next key. Now you notice that the box goes away because we told it not to stitch out, but I do have my little octagon right there. So we don't need to change anything. We're happy with this. So if you are on the Altair Meridian or the Destiny or the Brother Like machine, I want you to select the word preview OK, and then set OK. The rest of us will just select the word set OK. And now where that falls is directly on top of the center octagon. That is our final, we're going to call we'll call that our final tack down octagon applique stitch. Big long word. But guess what? We're done for this little project. So now all I have to do, I don't have to do anything now. I can just select the word embroidery, and now I can stitch it out. Yay! So let me grab my material, everything I need. Oh, I didn't tell you what stabilizer I used, but I'm pretty sure y'all can guess because I'm pretty much a one-trick pony when it comes to that. I am using a no-show mesh. You could, for this one, if you wanted to, let's say you didn't have any no-show mesh around, you could use a tearaway for this if you wanted to. That's totally up to you. I don't know why I'm obsessed with no-show mesh, but I just like it for all my projects. Now, if I'm doing, but you know I'll use it. If I change the settings on the screen, if you change the settings on that screen, will it make the stitch wider or more narrow? If you're still in the IQ Designer editing screen, you can change the stitch length longer or shorter. But you can't do it when you're in the embroidery screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I have my no-show mesh hoop. I did spray it a little bit with an 505 adhesive spray just to give it a little bit of tack. I am going to now take my piece of fabric, my background fabric that is on top with a little bit of 505 of my Shape Flex, or if you want to use batting, you can. And I'm going to center it in the hoop. I'm going to slide it on, and I'm going to use my check button to check this. Now, of course, I could use my scanning features and all that, but since my fabric's white, sometimes it does not show up that well. So I'm going to use, and let me show you which feature I'm going to use here, because you have this awesome little feature right down here. If you're in the embroidery screen, you have this, we can call it trace. So I'm going to tap on that. Do it again. And if I look up on the screen here, I'm going to select this button next and watch what happens. So I've got it kind of centered in there. Let's lighten that up. Doesn't need to be so dang dark. And I'm going to push that little button. And what it's going to do is it's going to trace the fabric so I can see if I need to move anything. And I'm just watching. I think it's going to be fine. But this is why I said use a 10-inch rather than a 9.5 like I did on this. It's going to give it a little bit more room. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of my embroidery tape. There are tons of them out there. So you use whatever you use. I'm just using this. I love the R&K Embroidery Perfection tape. It's just what I like. And I'm going to put a little bit here just to hold it into place, and a little bit here just to hold it into place. And my very first stitch is going to be, let me flip you over here, right there. My first stitch is, I'm going to consider this my tack down, okay? So it's going to stitch out a rectangle and the, I keep wanting to call it the hexie. I think it's a hexie. I failed math. That little fun shape in the center. So you ready? I'm just trying to get it nice and pretty here. Let me get a little bit more light back there. That's a little bit better. Okay. So I'm just going to start and let that stitch. Okay. Is R&K's stitch and shape the same? Okay. So Denise, good question. The product's not exactly the same, but it's similar. So yes, you could use the stitch and shape. It might be a little bit thicker, but it would work. It's I do know the stitch and shape embroiders beautifully. So yeah, if you have some of that, that would work. So now what it's doing is I'm just giving it the tack down just to hold it into place. And then it's also going to put the shape in the middle there. I'm going to basically call that my applique placement. Now, when you select the running stitch, it always goes around twice. No big deal. To me, that's just securing it a little bit more. So if it drives you crazy, then you just stop when it goes around once. I just let it do its thing. All right, done with that. Now it's going to go do my octagon here. And again, since we selected the running stitch, it's just going to do a double stitch, which is fine with me. But you can see when it comes back around what that shape flex does. You can see how, I don't know, it just adds that. It just looks so cool to me. I just love the way it's just stiff, you know, so it looks really cool when it's embroidered on. Now, if we take a look now at our computer, well, I mean, it's basically a sewing computer. If we look at our screen, we're going to see what's next is our little fill stitch. So let's let that stitch out. So this will just take a couple minutes to stitch out. And if you're sewing along with me, just hit, drop your foot, hit the start button, and let that stitch out. That'll just take a moment. And then I'll show you how to apply the applique. That's coming out real pretty. And yes, Cookie would get on to me. She's hysterical. I love Cookie. I don't know if she's on tonight, but if she is, hey, Cookie. Now, I do want to mention something. The fills all have a double stitch. If you have the Solaris 2 upgrade, you can turn that double stitch off. Okay, Julie has a question. Let me get this up to me. Let's see. Been puzzling on over making a flatware holder. Oh, cool. I can't work out how the satin stitch the short edge of the similar rectangle separately from everything else. Okay, Julie, what you would have to do is you have to, I can do a quick little demo on that when we're done. Just remind me. You have to erase one of the pixels, if that makes any sense, but I can show you. So if you hang on till the end, I'll show you how to do that. I think I know what you're asking, so. But that's a good question if you want to have your lines look a little different from everything else. So I picked a long stitch here, obviously, so just bear with me. We're getting there. Who doesn't love a good floral? And thank you all who came to Foot Fetish on Wednesday night. That was fun. I enjoy doing that. Hope you learned a little bit of something. Now, if you don't have the outline on, this is what it does. It stops, and then we'll do little areas at a time. And I mean, if that doesn't drive you completely insane, which it doesn't drive me insane at all, you know, you can turn that outline off. I prefer the outline to be off because to me, that's just extra stitching I don't need. I get a brain leak every time. Feel you, sister. Yeah, Mindy, me too. It's mesmerizing. Watching embroidery. When I first started doing it, I mean, literally, I can just sit, you know, I could sit there and just watch it, and it almost puts you to sleep because it's so mesmerizing. I'm one of those people that does not mind kind of like white noise, you know, and so stuff like this, I can get kind of sleepy at. Like I'm that crazy person that as soon as you put me on an airplane before takeoff, I am out like a light. I love flying because I get good sleep on airplanes. I don't know why. It's like rocking a baby. Of course, Denise, thanks. Of course. Okay, let's see. Will it make less tie-offs on the back? Yes, it will. I'm sorry if it's either Tanya or Tanya. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong either way. Yes, it will. But it will mostly be on where the lines are. So it would have left this line here and this line here. So I wouldn't get a tie off right there. So yes. But the thing about this one, we're going to cover it up. So we're going to cover those up. But if you're doing something like a quilt, and there's ways to get around that. Let's put it that way. All right, I think we're getting close to being done on mine. But if you look, this whole thing to stitch out is 11, mine's 11 minutes. The first one, because the design was just, you know, some lines here, we can see, took 8 minutes. So this one's actually really quick to stitch out, and there's not a whole lot to it. Now that's just stitch out. Of course, you're going to take a few more minutes to do the other things like lay the fabrics down, blah, 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 do this, do that. So one more little area. I'm going to get zoomed in a little bit more here so I can show you our next step. All right, so now what's going to happen is the very last stitch, and that's basically, we're going to consider that our applique placement, but it's also going to tack on the back piece. So I am going to remove the hoop from the machine, not the design from the hoop. And first what I'll do is lay my cork directly over my octagon here. I'll lay it directly over, and I'll use this tape here to hold it into place. And what I'm going to do now is take the whole hoop and flip it over, because I'm just going to go ahead and attach my back while I'm here. Oh, Kim, good question. I should have mentioned that in the beginning. Thanks for okay. So I'm having a little problem with the don't of my flash drive. So I haven't, I've got everybody's name down who wants them. So I've got it in a Excel sheet. So bear with me while I'm trying to work out my problems with my flash drive, people. Otherwise, I'm going to go to a new company. So they may look a little different, but just bear with me. Hopefully have it resolved this week. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take some tape, and I'm going to lay my back piece with the wrong side down to the back side of the hoop. Now I want my pretty side facing out. I'm going to take some tape, and what I want you to do when you take your tape is I want you to cut it. I don't want you to tear it, because if you tear it, you get these little funky edges, right? And those little funky edges can pull up when you've got this under the hoop. A clean edge is going to work much better. I have much trial and error with that, and much drama with things doing what they shouldn't do. So I'm going to cut me another piece. On the front, it really doesn't matter, but on the back, it matters. Oops. This little guy underneath here. And I'm just going to put it on two sides. You do what's comfortable for you. If you want to put it on all four, go for it. And I'm going to smooth it down good. Make sure everything is nice and smooth. I don't want to just put it on there and just go like that. You want to make sure it's smooth, because this tape, regardless, will lift up. All right, so now I'm going to flip it back over. And I'm going to place it back in the hoop, or I'm sorry, the hoop back on the machine. I always like to hold this, guys, just so you know, because I don't know if you've ever tried to put something on in the hoop, in the arm move. That's just a safety precaution. Okay, I'm making sure everything's good to go. I'm going to lock my door, and now I'm going to let it stitch the last stitch. And what that's going to do is that's going to tack my piece down. And it's also going to tack the back to of the back material to the project as well. And this is going to be a triple stitch, or whatever stitch you decided to choose. And I used regular bobbin thread because I really don't care if it shows up a little bit on the back. It's just a white bobbin thread. Depends on what fabric you're using on the back. If you're using a dark fabric, you may not want that white bobbin in. You may want to change your bobbin to, or for this last stitch, to your embroidery thread. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. Now I saw recently that someone got a boo-boo, pretty bad boo-boo, because she was trying to hold her fabric down. Make sure you use tape because you don't want your finger to get in the way. And I'm not sure which group I saw that on, but I felt so bad for it because that had to hurt like crazy. Now you can see how it's stitching beautifully right through that cork. And done. Ta-da! Where did I put my scissors? Well, I had my applique scissors here. I used them just a little while ago. Where did I do it? Okay. So now I'm completely done. So now what I want to do is trim about 1/8 of an inch away, or you can get really close to it. I mean, you can get right up on it. There is no satin stitch. I am now just looking for my applique scissors. I swear about half my time in my sewing room is looking for something that I placed down in a weird spot. But I think that happens to all of us, right? Maybe I put them here. Nope. They'll show up in a little bit. Oh, here they are. See, like, why would I put them back but there? I have no idea. You could, Mindy. So what you would have to do is you would have had to add that stitch, that fancy stitch around it. You would have had to go back and add that for the very last step. But yeah, you can do whatever you want. Absolutely. Okay, take this tape off. And I'm just going to do a little trim, about 1/8 of an inch. But again, you can get really close. You can make it like a full-blown applique if you want. I'm just going to leave a little bit. There we go. I'm going to do all my corners first, and I'll come back and get these straight edges. Get a little closer. Just a little. There we go. So, of course, when you make these, I want pictures. I want pictures galore. I want to see what you guys are making on your machines. Okay, so I'm going to go and trim these edges here. Ooh, that's a little long. I want to be a little closer. There we go. Now, how cute would this be in a star shape or a heart, or really any of the shapes that you can think of? Now, can you import a shape or bring in a shape? Absolutely. Remember, we can do what we want. So if it doesn't have, let's say, what would be really cute? Oh, I just thought of this. Is a dress form one, and we could go grab a clip art and just do the outline of the clip art. That would be, or of the dress form, and that would be really super cute. So, I mean, there's tons of options out there. So just think about, what shape you like. You don't have to do this stop sign looking one, but you know me, I like things that are kind of bee-like. Okay. Now all I have to do is remove this little guy from the hoop. I may want to take that tape off the back though, because I have it sticking to the edges there. But I just thought it would be better to go ahead and attach this guy. Could you have done it with the fill? Absolutely. So you would have the fill on the back? Sure. You can put it on anytime you want. I just didn't. And then all you would have to do, let me set this down. All you would have to do is trim it. So if you were going to trim it square, you're just going to trim basically right on the stitch line here. If you wanted to do it like I did with the hexie, let me grab my ruler. I'll show you what I did. So Tanya, yes, that's what Mindy had just asked. No, you know what? That would be adorable with the cork. You can stitch anything on the cork. So what you would do is, remember the very last stitch we brought in was that triple stitch. So what you would do after that is you could click the word add and then go back and use that center octagon again, turn it into a satin stitch, and then bring it over. It'd be adorable. It'd be really adorable. A lot of people don't like raw edge. And that's totally cool. You know, if you don't like it, then don't do it. You know, figure out what you like. Absolutely. So what I did is I measured here from my stitch line out to my end stitch line on these skinny parts. And I said, okay, well, that is about 7/8, right? So what I did here is I went from the stitch line, I put my 7/8 inch mark on there, and I cut those corners off. So that way, when this was done, and I mean, that was like a fluke. I was like, okay, you know, I really want the same shape. So that's all I did is I measured the same amount all the way around. And then I added a binding, not very prettily, okay, because I literally did it super fast. So if I flip it over, don't laugh. And plus, I don't do really good with machine sewing on binding. My binding works best for me when I hand stitch it on. But love the Pink Perfection tape. It is. If it was bright red, Diane, I would probably not use that tape. Actually, no, you know what? This tape is amazing. And, you know, for years, I actually thought it was called Pink Perfection tape because that's what Hope calls it. And under Hope, we always use the Pink Perfection tape. I really thought that's exactly what it was called, but it's not. It has nothing to do with the word pink. So then I just added my little binding. Now, if you want to do the square, you'll do the same thing, or a shape or whatever. So this binding, I probably should have, and it probably would have worked a little bit better, cut it on the bias. I did a really straight line, or just a regular straight line. But it's up to you. But look how stinking cute that is with my little pins. I love this. It's my dog mom. This one was given to me by a friend who made me a gorgeous matching quilt, little wall quilt with it. But, you know, you can have a lot of fun. And now I can now take my Xandra Shaw one. I belong to the Quilt Nation. I'm going to take these little guys off, and I'm going to place it somewhere because it's so stinking cute. If I can get this one off. There we go. And I'm just going to place it somewhere. And what I found, because there are multiple layers, is if you flip it over and push from the back, there's one. This one has two on here. So let's push that one down. And there we go. Now I can put all my pins on. I'm so excited. Can you use backing fabric as the binding? Sure. Oh yeah, you can do fold over if you like. Absolutely, you could if you wanted. I probably should. That probably would have worked better. But yeah, of course you can. You can do whatever you want. And then just add this way. I can now hang it on my wall and finally see my pins. They're not in a bag. So what do you think of that? How exciting. Okay, let me show Julie something really quick. And this is a good little demo here, guys, if you want to see this. And Julie, I hope this is what you're asking. I'm going to go back to IQ Designer. Thanks, guys. Just something fun you can do. And, you know, young kids, they might have a lot of those, so make them one. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, so Julie, I hope this is what you're asking. Okay, so I'm just going to go to IQ Designer and pull up like a rectangle or something. No, I'll pull up this square. Let's zoom in a little bit. Well, gosh, that's too much. Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make it kind of rectangular and skinny so I can kind of, it'll look kind of be easier to zoom in on. Okay, can you see my black line? Yeah, it's not the greatest, but you can see my black line. Okay, so this is what I think you're asking. Absolutely. Well, you can, Tandy, you can always rewatch the videos at any time. Thanks, Lynn. At any time. Okay. Now, if I want to have something here, I have a square, a rectangle, or a shape. And I want this bottom line here to be a satin stitch, but everything else to be a running stitch. This is what you have to do. A Mickey head. Oh my gosh, Linda, oh, make sure to post pictures because that would be so stinking cute. Linda Rose, pictures. I'm serious. Girl, you have to do pictures. Okay, so let me zoom in and let's get down to this area. So if I want this line right here to be a candle wicking stitch and this one to be a satin stitch right here, I'm going to zoom in pretty close and pan down to the bottom. And then I'm going to zoom in more. I'm going to zoom in like 800%, okay? And I'm going to come over to one of the edges. Now, I mean, if you're going to want to zoom in as close as you can. So I can get up to 16. What you're going to want to do, these are all pixels. And what I mean pixels, I mean, if I take an eraser and I erase a little area, you're going to see that it's all square, right? So each of these are all like little squares. So let me back that up. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your eraser. I would put it on the square and make it tiny. And then you can see how tiny it is. Okay, so see, that's not tiny enough. You may have to play with it to get it down really tiny. Okay. All right. So I don't know if you can see that. That is about the size of one of the squares. So I went down to size 1. And right at this corner right here, what I probably want to do is I want to click right above this square here and see how it erased it. So that way I can turn this line into a satin stitch. And you know what, you may want to do, well, let's do 2 little of the pixels. And then I'm going to move over and we're going to test it out. And I'm going to do the same to the other side. I'm just moving this guy over. Whew. There it is. I'm going to turn my pan off and I'm going to click it on one of the pixels. And I took 2 off right there. Okay. So now I'm going to zoom out and you can barely see that that's what's happened, right? So I'm going to go up to my line properties. And first I'm going to select the candle wicking. I just want to show you a difference. That's all I'm doing. And I'll pick this orange color and say, okay. And then I'm going to select my bucket and I'm going to tap the line that has the 3 sides. So just those 3 lines will turn orange. Now I'm going to go back and select the satin stitch. Let's select a different color so we can really see what happens there. We'll do the dark pink. Make sure your bucket's on, and I'm going to tap that line. Now I'm going to hit next, and let's see what happens. Now, because I am on the Solaris, it's going to show me real time what it's going to look like. So what I'm going to do first is zoom in and pan down to look at it. So let's pan over because you may have to do a little bit more adjusting. Now you can see right here that these are overlapping. So that means I would want to return, get my eraser, zoom in as much as I can zoom in. Oops, let me grab my pan here. May have lost it. There it is. And I'm probably going to want to, and this is just going to be a trial and error. Go all the way down. It looks like I'm going to have to erase maybe right here, just so they don't run into each other. Maybe I'll erase 2 there. And then pan over to the other side. And then I'll show you how to change the sizes too, so you can kind of really make it work for you. So click my eraser. I'll do this one and this one. And now select OK. Select next and let's see what happens. Yeah, that's better. So if I zoom in, yeah, I could probably go, one more click through here. But let's zoom out. Let's just say we were happy with that, right? All we would have to do is, and we could change the size of the candle wicking because the candle wicking is selected, and you can change them, make them bigger, smaller here. But if I use these arrows right here, it'll arrow me over to the satin stitch, and I can actually make that wider if I wanted, or small or skinnier. So let's do that and let's see what happens. There we go. So yes, it can be done. It's just playing with the pixels and erasing them. So, so I hope that helped you out. I hope that helps out, Julie. All right, any more questions? Okay, if not, I'm gonna go back over to my face. Oops, that was wrong. There we go. Oh, there's a lot of light behind me. Let's get that out of the way. Homemade workshops. They're a mess, but they work. Okay, perfect. What about the pocket part? Okay, the pocket part. Did I see something about pocket part? Let me see what that. Let me go back up to your original host. Let me find it. Let's see what you said about a pocket. Can't work out. I don't see anything about a pocket, Julie. Can you maybe elaborate? Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Put a satin stitch on the part of the. I think she's asking how to put a satin stitch on the part that will be open at the top. Of course, guys. Silverware. Oh, I don't know. I think I'm confused. So if it's like a point, then you can keep every are you asking to fold it? Do you need a line to fold it? Or I guess I'm confused. Maybe send me a picture or something like that. Yeah, why don't you do that? Kind of send me like a picture or something, so that way I can really figure it out. I don't know if I so it's 2 rectangles, 1 inch, one tall and 1/2. The top part of the pocket needs to be separately satin stitched. The top part of the pocket. So I guess you could, I guess I'd have to see the shapes. Is there any way you can maybe draw it up and then shoot me a picture, and then that way I can kind of figure it out from there? Because I guess I'm just not in my mind. Yeah, I get that. So yeah, why don't you do that? You can message me, Julie. If you go, thanks. It's okay. Well, I'd rather help you than not help you. So if you wouldn't mind sending me a picture, that'd be great. So you can do it through you can just look up my name, Anna Leah Avery Vaughn, and select message and send me a message, or you can post it on the group or whatever. So I'll help you out there. Awesome. Okay, well, I appreciate you all for joining me today. Don't forget, I'm going to put up a post in a little bit about our paint party. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday and a fabulous week, and I'll see you guys next week. If you Have any ideas of anything you'd like to see? Let me know. We already have done a lot of, especially if you're new, we've done a lot of videos on a lot of different topics. So I go there and check first. So I hope you guys will send me some ideas, give me some ideas. I love that. Okay. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening and a great week. And I will see you next week. Remember, shop local, shop small, and I'll see you soon. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. I hope you all have a good one. There we go. Bye.